Hello students. Yesterday we have discussed the Doppler effects in sound, and from last 2 days we are since last 2 days we are talking about the Doppler effects in sound, and there we have discussed the formula for the calculation of the Doppler effect, or also how can you understand the apparent frequency that is changing whenever there is relative motion between source and listener. So we have seen there, if there is relative motion between source and listener, then there is always change in frequency that is taking place, means the frequency absorbed by the listener that is either that is increasing or decreasing according to the condition in which the direction in which they are just moving. And if the medium is also moving with some velocities, and then there can be also change in the frequency that is heard by the listener. So in that way Doppler effects can be observed in sound, and we have seen there how can you understand the change in frequency by the relative motion between that the listener and source. And today let's see, as we have already discussed that if source is moving towards the listener, then that time listener will hear greater frequency if listener is at rest. And also we have taken the second condition, when source is at rest and listener is approaching to it with some velocity. In that case also listener hears greater frequency. And if both are moving with same velocity, means in first condition, suppose when listener is at rest and source is moving with some velocity Vs, and already this is velocity of sound towards it, then we know that the apparent frequency here by it you can calculate it easily with the help of the formula that we have. This is V plus minus Vl upon V plus minus Vs into mu. Clear? So with the help of that you can calculate the formula here. So in this case, as listener is at rest, Vl is equal to 0 we have. And suppose that this is moving with some velocity V dash here. Clear? Source is moving with some velocity V dash, and it is approaching to the listener, then definitely there will be increase in frequency. Only that case we are taking to make you understand one property of the Doppler effect that is appearing in sound here. So if you will see here, then mu dash, this will be equal to V upon, obviously listener is at rest. And also this, as you know that whenever there is relative motion between the sound and this source of sound in the same direction, and that time their velocity will be subtracted. So it means that here V minus V dash we will have, that is equal to this. So this frequency that we have observed whenever source is moving with some velocity and this is moving towards the listener which is at rest. In second case, if listener and this is our source, this is at rest and listener is moving towards the source with this velocity V dash, with the same velocity as we have taken here, and this is the velocity of sound that is just moving obviously towards the listener. Then this time the frequency heard by the listener, that will be also increased frequency. You know that whenever there is approaching motion, there we are getting increased frequency. We have proved it already. So let's see what will be the frequency here. So this will be mu dash. Suppose that mu double dash I am just writing here. So here from this will be, as there is opposite motion, opposite directional motion, then these two things will be sum up here. And here Vs is equal to 0, then this will be V equal to. From these two equations you are saying that this is not equal. It means that whenever listener or source, apparently they are moving with the same velocity to each other, but still the frequency heard by the listener, that is different in both of the cases. It means that the sound Doppler effect in sound is not symmetric. It is asymmetric nature, means it has asymmetric nature. So this is a very special property of the Doppler effect in sounds. We cannot take the symmetric property here, means we cannot take this thing that if source is moving with the same velocity, then listener will hear the same frequency as it is moving towards the listener with that velocity. No, both times velocity and frequencies that is heard by the listener, that is different. So let's see in which case this frequency will be greater. So from these two expressions you can see that obviously if here denominator is less than this is obviously actually this numerator is greater than this, and in this case also this is greater than this, but still if you will see the greater concept here, then this is more greater than this one. It means that nu dash double dash, that is there will be means this will be first of all this is not equal to this, clear? And now you can take the difference here. Let's take the difference here, positive, negative, whatever will be the difference. Let's see. So this is nu dash minus nu double dash. So let's put the values here, and after solving it we will see that. So this will be v upon v minus v dash into mu minus of v plus v dash upon v into mu. So after solution here, this will be v, this will be v minus v dash, and you can solve it easily by this process. This will be v square minus this will be v minus v dash and v plus v dash. It means that a minus v, a plus v formula you can apply here. This will be a square minus v square, means that v square v dash square and into mu here. Okay, so these two things will be cancelled out from here, and we can write here that is v dash square by v minus v dash into mu. Clear? So it means that these things that we are getting, that is positive here. So as a nu dash minus nu double dash, this is equal to positive, then nu dash, this will be equal to, obviously this will be greater than the this nu double dash. So whenever source is approaching to the listener, then listener will hear greater frequency in comparison to when listener is moving towards the source with the same velocity. So there is the different frequencies heard by the listener, although there is the equal velocity through which they are approaching to each other, that doesn't matter here, but still this is due to asymmetric nature. Suppose that if we want to hear greater frequency, then it is more convenient to move the source towards the listener in comparison to a movement of the listener towards the source. So we can use the asymmetric nature in our daily life to make the change in the frequency that we are hearing there. So as there we are getting, this is the value of nu dash minus nu double dash. So this quantity, the difference between the frequencies heard by the listener in the two cases, when source is approaching it, when listener is approaching to the source, then this is known as Doppler shifting. So the Doppler shift is nothing, this is equal to the difference of the frequencies heard by the listener in two different cases, whenever they are moving with the same velocity, the concept we have just taken here. So the, in the case due to asymmetry, as we have seen that there is the difference in frequency of sound that is hearing. If there will be symmetric nature, then due to symmetric nature we know that there should be equal frequency heard by the listener whenever means whatever will be the condition when listener is moving or source is moving, but still here is different condition. So here a Doppler shift we are getting. So now I think the condition of the Doppler shifting is what, that is clear. What is the nature of the Doppler shift here, Doppler effect here, that is asymmetric, that is also clear to you. So here we have just understood already all the concepts of the Doppler effect in sound. The number of properties, number of concepts, number of derivations we have taken here. So I think there is now no confusion to understand the change in frequency of sound by any relative motion, why this is changing in different way, why we are getting it. And now where we can use this knowledge of the Doppler shifting in our daily life. So in our daily life, this knowledge of Doppler shift we are using in many ways. Like it is used by the police to check over speeding of the vehicles. So over speeding of the vehicles can be checked here by this. Also, you know that bats are using the Doppler shifting for to catch the insects. So whenever there, if insects is moving with faster speed than the bat, then that time the frequency heard by the bat, that will be less. But whenever bat is moving in with greater velocity, the frequency heard by it, that will be greater. So with the help of change in frequency, bat used to catch the insects. So Doppler shifts are very helpful for them to get their foods. And also in the to guide the aircrafts at airports, we are using the Doppler shifting effects also by change in frequency. It is also using by the military persons to detect the enemy's spacecrafts or aircrafts. We are just trying to detect it by using Doppler shifting. Also we are using in astrophysics, we are using it to measure the velocities of stars and other stellar bodies. Also we are using this in very in our medical field to study the heartbeat and blood flow in different parts of our body. So in the different parts of our body, with the help of the blood flow and its frequency, and by that we can know the consumption in the blood arteries and other things. So this is the very important factor that we are using in our daily life. This is very important knowledge, and there we have discussed the application of superposition principle one by one, and there we have seen that the superposition principle is really quite helpful in our life, because we have used superposition principle in, first of all, in standing or stationary wave that we are using to produce music in our musical instrument. Also later we have seen the concept of beats. So the concept of beat we are using to again in our musical instruments for better music productions. The knowledge of notes, anti-notes, that provides us to produce the exact music that we are needed. And later this Doppler shifting, number of applications are here of the Doppler shifting. But also you know that I just told you the Doppler shifting we are observing in case of light, also electromagnetic waves also. All the electromagnetic waves also shows this effect, but still there are some different formula or different equations we are getting there for the Doppler shifting, and the uses of Doppler shifting is quite large there also. We can even understand the expansion of universe by using Doppler shifting here. So that is very important concept. From here you are seeing the basic things. First of all, now you know, you are aware of the Doppler shifting, then later you can understand the concept of Doppler shifting in light also. So as we have discussed the problems and topics for the here Doppler effect, and also all the topics regarding to wave that we have discussed here. In terms of waves, we have I think discussed a number of days these topics, so there is no confusion in that, in derivations, in any concepts, in any things. So let's see some of the conceptual problems here one by one. Which of the conceptual problems can be asked to you regarding to these all topics? So first of all, as in here in our daily life, we are seeing that different sound levels we are just listening. So what is the scale to measure the sound levels that we are observing in our daily life? So the scale that is used to measure the sound in our daily life that is produced, that is the decibel scale that we are using. So in the, on the decibel scale you can see what is the sounds that we are observing in nature. So first of all, suppose this is our decibel scale. Suppose this is just a decibel scale that I have just drawn here, and on this decibel scales a number of here 0 decibels are here, and let's see here 20 decibel, 40 decibel, 60 decibel, 80 decibel, 100, 120. Suppose that this should be equal, but still let's take them, but I just can draw it as also. Let's take it 20, this is 40, this is 60, 80, this is 100, this is 120. So this is 20 decibel. This is 40 decibel. You can denote it by dB. This is 60 decibel. This is 80 decibel. So the unit that is used to measure the intensity of sound, that is the decibel, in that we are measuring it. This is 120 decibel. On the scale you can take another thing, but still the most intense sound that we are using, that is 120 decibel live. So as one by one, let's see, where in our daily life we are observing different types of conditions, like if we are whispering, means soft whispers we are using to communicate our things. Then in the case of soft whispers, it has sound of the intensity, that is a sound level that is of 10 decibel nearly. So soft whisper here, this will be 10 decibel. So it is our the level of soft whisper. You can denote it on the sound scales. This question can be asked to you to just denote the sound levels observing in your daily life on the decibel scale. So you have to just denote it in this way. So this is our the level for the soft whispers, that is of 10 decibel. And these types of sounds are barely audible. We cannot no other persons can be audible for this soft whispers here. Again, as you know that the bedrooms that are actually soft whispers that are producing by the insects there, and insects are producing and we are not able to audit that, so that are not audible for us. Second thing, if you see the bedroom at night, then that is quite often quiet at the night, then obviously, and it has the level of sound that time, that is around the 30 decibel. So 30 decibel we will observe here. So this is the level of the sound that is produced in the bedroom at night. Again, if you see the average classroom, so in the average classroom, the sound level that is produced, that is of nearly 50 decibel. That is the moderate sound. It means that we can just pair it easily. So that is moderate sound that we are producing in the classrooms. So classroom, this is classroom sound. So this sound is moderate. Clear? This is barely audible. This is quite often, you can say that quite. So again, next thing that we are observing in our daily life, that is, suppose that we are inside a moving car. So inside a moving car, the sound level that we are observing, that is nearly 70 decibel sounds we are just observing there. So this 70 decibel sound, that is, you can see that this is noisy sounds, and we are just feeling whenever you are inside the cars, and you are feeling that there is very noise there. So this sound, 70 decibel sound, is noisy for us. So this is the scale for the moving cars. So this is noisy sounds for us. Clear? Next, that if you are moving inside the moving heavy trucks. So inside any moving heavy trucks, we are just observing that this is very noise. So the very noisy sounds, how can you note it on the sound levels or decibel scale? So it has nearly 90 decibel sound. So this is our 90 decibel. This is the level of moving truck. So this is very noisy sound, you can say that. Later, if you take example of the jet planes that is taking off. So if you are standing somewhere where jet plane is taking off, then that sound is really very painful for our ears. So that has the sound level of nearly 120 decibels. So this sound is really very painful for us. If you will not cover your ears, then that side times the your ear will be obviously that will not be able to audible means they will not to hear or listen anything later. So this is the most, you can say that the level, this is dangerous for us to hear the 120 decibel sounds in our daily life. So this is the jet plane that is taking off. So this is painful for us. So here we have just, this is one curiosity based actually question, is that in our daily life we are observing different sounds. Then how can you denote them on any scale? So scale that is using to denote the sound level, that is the decibel scale. So on that you can denote it easily with the help of that, and you can understand easily which of the sound is easy to hear, or that is we are pleased to hear, but the sounds that we don't like to hear, that is noisy for us, that is painful for us. So what is the sound level for that? So these are the sound levels, and obviously it summarized way. Let's see it again. If soft whispers we are seeing, that is not audible for us, that are used by the sets and others, then for that case the barely audible sound, that is 10 decibel for us. And in bedroom, if you see at night, then that are really very quiet, then that time it has the decibel or sound level, that is 30 sound level, decibel sound level. In classrooms we are using the average sound level, that is 50 decibel, and that is moderate sound level for us. And next, inside moving cars we are feeling noisy. In case of noisy conditions, this is 70 decibel nearly. Inside the trucks it is very noisy for us, exactly because a lot of sounds that are producing, their intensity is increasing there. So that's why here 90 decibel sounds that we are using, and this is really very noisy for us. But if we are just listening 120 decibel sounds, if jet plane is taking off, this is the example of actually it. So that time it is really painful for our ears. So we cannot bear that sound easily. If you are listening this sound every day, then definitely you will lose your listening capability there. So this is the sound level. I think that is clear to you. What is the use of the decibel scales in your daily life? You can understand what at which scales that is really hearable for us, that is not too dangerous for us. So this is, you can say that below 60 and above 30, this range is really very good range for us, means we are just we will just be just pleased to hear such types of voices that are producing 30 to 60 decibel sounds. But if some of the sounds that are producing above 60, so that is really not good for us, that is noisy, that is painful for us. And below 30 we will not be able to listen that sounds. So that's why you can say that the most preferable sound for us, that is between 30 to 60. So this scale you can use to produce different sounds, and that will be really useful to listen, and there will not be any dangerous effects due to that. So the next curiosity based question, that is very interesting question actually also, and the interesting topic to know that here, that is it is really a reliable way to find the damage in bridges to listen them. So this is also, I think you are surprised by this. If you want to find or detect the damage in the bridges, then if you will listen them, then they will tell you where is the damage. Like in your daily life, sometimes if we are hurt by accidents and other things, then that time we started to cry and shout, and we are started to feel pain. That's why we can see that here we are feeling pains, and using that you doctors can detect that. In the same way, bruises are also, you can say that they are crying, they are shouting after they, if there is any crack in that. So here I'm not just comparing them with the living things, but still uh, there is a method with the help of which you can detect the damage in bruises after listening to them. So there was a scientist, a US scientist, that is David Fine, and he just developed a scheme of acoustic bruise detector or acoustic bruise inspection. So acoustic means he just told us that when there is a piece of steel or other things that are cracked, then there uh, that time it produces a high frequency sound. So whenever there is any crack in the steel bridges and other bridges, then there is a high frequency sound that is produced, and that is nearly 150 kilohertz sound. So this is really very high frequency that is produced that time. So and if we will just develop instruments to measure that intensity of that frequency of sound exactly, and then, with the help of acoustic sensors, acoustic emission sensors, you can measure that frequency. So after measuring the frequency at the bridges means just we can use a audio device to hear that. And for that the sensor is we are putting the sensor at every points on the bridges, and after that the that is recorded by the audio device there. And after recording all of the frequencies that is producing by the bridges, then that time if it will feed to the computers, then computer first of all it can filter the noise, other noise like the vehicles that are passing from over it and other sounds. So after filtering it, it just match the frequency of the bridges. And if there is any difference in the frequency of bridges that is obtained, means normal frequency of bridges are quite less, and if there is any crack in the bridges, then that time the frequency, a high frequency sound that is produced, that is of the order of nearly, I just told you, that is nearly 150 kilohertz that is produced by them. So that time obviously a greater change in frequency that can be observed whenever there should be any there will be any damage there. So if after matching the data at every places of the frequency that is observed from the bridges, so if there is any greater change in frequency anywhere, it means that at that point there is a damage or there is a crack. So easily with the help of acoustical sensor and acoustical detection technique, we can detect the cracking of the bridges or damage of the bridges easily. So this is very easy way to even it is very easy to understand exact location, because exact the frequency from where we have got, that we can understand easily, because we have just taken it from the different places. We know that place, and with the help of that place you can detect it. You even after detecting easily it can be repaired there. So that's why you can say that it is very reliable way to find the damage in the bridges, to listen them. So this is very perfect sentence. Here you can listen them easily, and after listening them you can just remove their damage. This is just like if you want to take analogy, it is just like your pain. Like if you are feeling pain anywhere, then after if you are hurt or if you are cracked from anywhere, then definitely after knowing that, you can apply paint or any painkillers there, and with the help of that you can just cure yourself. So this is the way in which we are finding the damage. Actually acoustical sensors are very useful to find the cracks in any you can use not only in the bridges, in everywhere where we are using metals, and that time if there is any crack, then obviously after crack it is producing high frequency, there you can use optical sensors to detect it easily in your life. So in this way we have discussed so many concepts of wave, and this is most curiosity based question that I have just discussed you. These are very important and very means we are quite curious in our daily life for that question, so that's why I discussed. And later in next class we will discuss conceptual problems first of all based on this whole chapter, because a number of conceptual problems can be asked from this topic. And in our daily life, as I just one by one I just told you that in our daily life where we are using this concept, so if in our in daily life we are using, then definitely number of questions can be asked from there, number of curiosity questions can comes in our mind. So that's why let's discuss them in next class. So I think that today whatever we have discussed, the effect of Doppler shifting, nature of Doppler shifting means asymmetric nature where we can use it, and later I have just discussed two curiosity based questions. So I think that is clear. Let's end the class today. In next classes we will discuss the conceptual questions, guys.